Ooh, all right. Yeah, boss of YouTube, aka what's up, YouTube? Welcome to our draft analysis for the Durham Druddigons in season five of the NCP, which yes, did just recently end a few weeks ago. We were able to make it to the quarterfinals of that season, which again, my goal was to finish the season and make it to the playoffs. Obviously, this time around, we shook off some of our rust for Wi-Fi leagues, and hopefully we can go all the way and definitely win a championship this season. So I want to do a quick recap of season 4. Literally just me saying it was a fun season. Honestly, I didn't really like my draft overall. It was a pretty decent draft even after the transactions I made with getting rid of Volcarona and Manectric for Heliolisk and Ninetales. I actually kind of liked it a little bit more. And even if I had Volcarona throughout any of my other matches, I don't think it really would have mattered that much because I know some of y'all were not with those trades that I had made. But yeah, hopefully this time around and this time the draft that we do have will be a lot better. So make sure to answer the comment question of the day, which is going to be on your screen over there. That is something that I do want to bring back to the channel. It's been forever since I've done it. It gets you guys involved, gets me to respond to y'all, and helps that YouTube algorithm, which we all know is absolutely terrible. So make sure to try and call the YouTube algorithm, answer the comment question of the day. Leave a like if you are hyped for this season once again for the Durham Druddigons to hopefully make a run at that championship and potentially win it all. So yeah, we are here for season 5. All the coaches for this season will be down in the description below. We actually have some new faces for this season, some that you may know, some that you may not know. So definitely check them out. So going in here to our season 5 draft, you already know I am not that lucky. So we did not end up getting a top pick, unfortunately. Ironically enough, which is actually kind of funny because in our lower tier draft league, we ended up being pick number 10. Now, the way that drafting was done, or the way that draft picks were done for this season, it was all randomized. It was like a little roulette wheel, and then whatever you got picked on, that was your draft spot. So I ended up getting number 10 again. So not only were we number 10 for our lower tier draft, but we were also number 10 here for NCP, which I guess it's not that bad. I think last season we were like number 13 or 14, so it's fine. I guess number 10's not the worst thing ever. Obviously at number 10, I wasn't going to get anything absolutely busted. If anything, I was hoping things like maybe VIGTINU or Tapu Koko would fall to me to number 10. And ironically enough, VIGTINU actually did end up falling to me here in our first pick, which I actually wanted VIGTINU last season, but it got picked literally the pick right before me. So that's the only reason why I went to Zygarde as opposed to VIGTINU. But this time around, though, we have Vicente the VIGTINU. It's been forever. Literally, this is the first time I've used VIGTINU in a draft league since I won my first ever draft league championship. So it's been a very, 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 very long time. And I'm really excited to have VIGTINU here. Not to mention that VIGTINU does have the opportunity to be running heavy duty boots, which is amazing because with base 100 stats across the board, this thing is a really good just pivot in general and not having to worry about entry hazard damage. And the fact that it has access to V-Crate to absolutely nuke whatever it wants to is really, really good. Not to mention that it does have some really good coverage on the special side, like Thunder, Energy Ball, Blue Flare. It gets like Psychic. I think it got Store Power this generation too, even Dazzling Gleam potentially, if I really wanted to go down that route. It gets some really nice support moves like Thunder Wave and Taunt. Yeah, it does get Taunt. Even Trick could be really cool. Maybe something like Trick Room. V-Crate could be a set that we run this season. I saw Mid Pokemaster use this very, very effectively in his season 4 run, and he was the one who sniped it from me because he was right before me. So I'm really hoping that I can use VIGTINU just as well, if not maybe even better, throughout here in our season 5 run. Again, it's been, I want like literally at least 2 years, probably like back in like 6th gen, maybe like early 7th gen. Like it's been so long since we used VIGTINU, and this was definitely like this and Tapu Koko were like the two mons that I realistically thought would fall to me at 10th pick. On the picks back, I realized that there's still so many good top Pokemon left, and the main ones that I want is a Steel type, whether it be Excadrill, Celesteela, Melmetal, maybe Jirachi, even like Skarmory potentially, Corviknight, something. Well, actually, no, I think Corviknight might have got picked. No, that was later. But I wanted a high cost steel type to pair up with Victini, and luckily what ended up coming back to me was Melmetal here, which is actually really cool because Melmetal is a mon I've only used once, and it was only for like 2 weeks, and this thing is absolutely disgusting with its base 143 physical attack stat. I'm going to try and have the stats hopefully above me like I did in my lower tier draft analysis yesterday. So yeah, the stats on Melmetal are pretty cool. Obviously its SPDEF is not the best and its speed is pretty abysmal, but that doesn't really matter when this thing has Iron Fist, stabbed, double iron bashes. This thing is going to be smacking so many things. It gets access to acid armor with body press. It can even run very effective assault vest sets. It can run a multitude of different items as well to definitely benefit it. I've seen Scarfed Ram before, which I know sounds crazy coming off a base 34 speed, but hey, if you can outspeed those slow threats, then you got a 60% chance to flinch them, and then that's not really that bad, honestly. So yeah, I really think that Melmetal here paired up with Victini is going to be really, really awesome. I basically have two amazing fairy killers, so if I do want to get a dark type or a fighting type later on in the draft, then I can definitely do that and not have to worry too much about fairy types, which would be really, really nice. So yeah, Melmetal's coverage is really good. It gets, I don't think it gets Fire Punch, but it gets like Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Earthquake, some really good physical moves. I think it also gets some decent specially offensive moves. Yeah, like Discharge is okay, I guess. Maybe Solar Beam if I really want to go down that route. But yeah, Melmetal here, second pick overall. I really, really liked. I think we actually did end up sniping somebody of this pick, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, though, Melmetal plus Victini, I really like the start to this draft because we have a lot of great just offensive power immediately going into this. So moving on to our third pick here, I realized that I kind of want to get a really good fairy. I don't typically get fairies that cost a lot. I normally kind of try and dabble in like the lower points or in like the mid tiers, and I think we had 110 120 points, I can't remember, for 11 mons. So we were set in 11 mons, and I was like, I want whatever good high cost fairy gets back to me, and there were still a few, and the one that I settled on was going to be TOGEKISS, which ironically enough, TOGEKISS is a mon that I've always really wanted to use. We do have it in the PMU, which is the 7th Gen Draft League, which I know I still need to start uploading. I haven't forgot about it. I'm really, really sorry. I think we're like in week 5 at this point, but I promise you those games will be up. I haven't forgot. I'm really, really sorry, but they will be up. Okay, I promise. So yeah, but in 8th gen, TOGEKISS can run heavy duty boots. So yeah, we do have Victini already, and now we have TOGEKISS that both run heavy duty boots, but realistically, it's not that big of an issue, honestly. If they're running boots, like the fact that they're not taking entry hazard damage is really, really handy. Plus, we all know what TOGEKISS likes to do. It can Thunder Wave to para-flinch things with Air Slash. It gets access to Nasty Plot, which is really, really cool. Flying, being a really good stab move in general, is very spammable. Like once my opponents lose their Steel types or Electric types, and Rock types are very rarely drafted anyways, this can kind of come in, maybe Nasty Plot, Air Slash its way to victory. It gets some really nice support moves in Heal Bell, obviously Thunder Wave. I want to say it gets Healing Wish, but I don't think so. No, it does not. It got something else. Encore. I might be thinking of Encore. Encore is also still really, really handy. Even Tri Attack with like Serene Grace, that gives it a 40% chance to potentially freeze, burn, or para. Even Wish could be something that I may want to try out potentially throughout the season. That could be very, very valuable as well. It's a pretty bulky fairy type that, again, I've never got to use really, and it's definitely something I'm excited for. I definitely see TOGEKISS more than likely coming to like every single match. Even if I have to run heavy duty boots, I really don't care that much. Like, it shouldn't be that much of a problem in all honesty. So yeah, moving on to our next round pick here. This was a mon that I was actually really surprised lasted until round 4. I thought that this would easily go like round 3, maybe, well, not late round 2, but like at least round 3, early round 3, before it got back to me and lasted this long in round 4, and that is going to be Team Player, aka Swampert. Yes, Swampert is a mon that I've never used before. I've always kind of valued Seismitoad a little bit more than Swampert, just because Toad has access to a grass move, knockoff, and is immune to water moves because of Water Absorb. But Swampert got two cool new toys in Generation 8, and those are Flip Turn and Bulk Up. Now, Bulk Up, not so much, but Flip Turn is actually really cool, considering the fact that this now gives Swampert some type of momentum, and it has actually made it more valuable than in previous generations because of that momentum option. Yes, it does kind of take up a move slot of something, like potentially a status or like one of your two dual stabs, that being Scald and like Earthquake typically. But it's not really that big of an issue because if this can get a rocks and just keep up momentum for itself and gaining you momentum, that in itself is still very valuable. So I actually really had my eyes set on Swampert earlier in the draft. I almost went Swampert round 3 as opposed to Togekiss, but I was like, you know what, I kind of want Togekiss because the other fairies might get taken that are high cost, and I don't really want a lower cost fairy because I always get a lower cost fairy. I want to try something a little bit different. I want to get a high cost fairy, so I went Togekiss, and thankfully Swampert was still here round 4, and actually Swampert plus Togekiss do pair up really well. The only thing is that Swampert is neutral to ice, as where Togekiss is weak to it, but that's not really that big of an issue when Togekiss resists grass moves that Swampert is weak to, and Swampert is immune to electric moves, which Togekiss is weak to. So they do kind of pair up really well in my opinion. And then obviously we do have VIGTINU and MELMETAL that can deal with ice types if we are really that concerned about them. So yeah, really happy to have been able to get Swampert here in our round 4 pick. Moving on to round number 5. This was a mon I wasn't initially gonna get, but I talked it over with my boy Shuckle King, and the fact that this was still here round 5 and that I have two amazing fairy killers in VIGTINU and MELMETAL, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get this here round 5, and that is going to be Weavile. Now, in Season 4, we had Sneasel. Now, Sneasel did come to a few games, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best Pokemon ever, and it was a little bit underwhelming, honestly. But Weavile is definitely 10 times better than Sneasel, obviously, because it is its evolution. It hits harder, has a much better speed in base 125, as you can see, and it's able to do so much ridiculous damage. Pressure is obviously a really good ability. Even Pickpocket could potentially come in handy in certain matchups as well. Weavile basically does 3 things: it knocks off, it ice shards, and it triple axles. On occasion, I guess it can swords dance, even maybe like substitute could be a thing. Potentially like Band-Aid or Scarf could also be brought maybe to some games. But I figured that I really want a good knockoff mon for this type of draft, just because being able to get rid of items to help out my MELMETAL and my VIGTINU is going to be really handy, especially if I can knock off items such as Rocky helmets, so then I don't got to take damage from that on my MELMETAL, which hits twice with double Iron Bash. And then even VIGTINU going for something like V-Crate or just U-turns could be really nice to not have to worry about taking that type of physical damage. So yeah, Weavile, amazing knockoff mon. I can honestly just see this coming every single week and just putting in a lot of work. Again, like knockoff is probably top 3 best moves in Draft League format. Being able to get rid of your opponent's items is absolutely amazing. So our next round pick here is a mon that I knew I 100% wanted once I drafted MELMETAL. I was like, if I'm gonna get MELMETAL here for my second pick, I definitely want to get this Pokemon later in the draft, and that is going to be PORYGON 2, which is a mon I've actually never drafted before in any draft leagues at all. The main thing I never really liked about PORYGON 2 is that once it gets knocked off, it's not really that useful. But I figured that if I can get some mons later in the draft to kind of mitigate the knockoff weakness, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. So yeah, our fairy type, which is Togekiss, also doesn't kind of like knockoff because it is going to be wanting to run heavy duty boots, and then obviously if it gets knocked off of the boots, it's taking rocks damage. Even then, that's not really like the worst thing ever. And Porygon 2 with the Violite is absolutely disgustingly fat. Shouts out to my boy Shuckle King 87. If you guys saw his run in season 4 with this thing, he used it to great effects. Also paired up with MELMETAL. This gives me something with Trick Room and teleport, which means I can Trick Room, teleport into MELMETAL, and things are going to absolutely get dropped. And that's what I'm really hoping I can pull off a few times throughout the season. Even then, I don't need to run Trick Room plus teleport. I can just run teleport for some type of momentum. It has 3 really good abilities. Trace, Download, and Analytic are all amazing. It has phenomenal bulk, as you can see on your screen, especially with that Violite. Base 105 special attack. If it gets a +1 in it with Download, whew, things are about to start dropping. So yeah, I've wanted to use PORYGON 2 for a while now, but I've never got a chance to. And as soon as I got MELMETAL, I was like, I'm getting this. I'm gonna get this now. Honestly, I probably could have waited until like another round to get PORYGON 2, because I guess it didn't really fit on anybody else's drafts. But I was like, I don't want to risk it. And also something else happened in chat, and I was like, they know I'm gonna get it, so if I say I'm not gonna get it this round, somebody else could get it. And I was just like, I'm gonna just get it here for round 6. I honestly could have waited, but it's fine. And a part of me wishes I had kind of waited, because what I probably originally would have taken this round was Rotom Mo, and unfortunately in the later half of round 6, Rotom Mo got picked, which really sucks, because I realized that I need something that resists ground or is immune to ground, because all I have right now is TOGEKISS, and I still need a poison type. I have MELMETAL and VIGTINU already, which are weak to ground, and then all my other Pokemon are touching the ground as well. Swampert doesn't have reliable recovery, and obviously Weavile doesn't want to take any hits regardless, because it's a Weavile. So I figured, all right, I need to kind of touch this up with some other picks later in the draft. I'll worry about it later. Right now, what I really want to get though is my dragon, and the one dragon I had in mind that I was really hoping would last through the first few rounds was our mascot Damien, aka Druddigon. Now I am so excited to have Druddigon here. I want to say that it was, no, it wasn't NCP, it was some other league. Was it GDL? It might have been GDL. I'm not sure, but there was another league where I really wanted this, and unfortunately I got sniped of it. And because I had Zygarde season 4, I wasn't going to draft it this season. And then in lower tier, it got picked, so I really wasn't too concerned about it. And then here I was like, you know what, I'm going to get Druddigon, I'm going to get it. And luckily it lasted until round 7. I think most people at this point had their dragons, or they had their eyes on different dragon types. And the great thing about Druddigon is that this gives me a second really solid stealth rocker, because we have Swampert now, and now we have Druddigon. Both of those, even if they are my only stealth rockers in this draft, they are very reliable stealth rockers in their own rights. They can just about always get up rocks if necessary. And Druddigon also has the crazy addition of just having so many different coverage moves. It gets Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Super Power, Surf. It gets Gunk Shot, Sucker Punch for priority. It gets access to Sheer Force as an ability if I want to go like an offensive Druddigon coming off of base 120 physical attack stat. That's going to be hitting pretty hard. Plus, we have the Trick Room option now with PORYGON 2 and even VIGTINU if I really want to go down that route to run like just a purely Trick Room based team in a matchup or two potentially. So yeah, really happy to have got Druddigon here. It's very bulky. It's a very bulky dragon. Obviously not the best dragon ever, but it does what I need it to do. It punishes physical attackers because of rough skin and potentially running Rocky Helmet. It gets access to Stealth Rocks. Glare is also really nice as a form of speed control that cannot miss, which is huge. And it gives me the dragon typing to pair up with my MELMETAL and my TOGEKISS, which I'm very happy to have been able to get here. So yeah, between Druddigon and Swampert, these two as my stealth rockers, I figured, you know what, I'm very happy with this if I don't get another stealth rocker. But if I can fit another one in there, then I'm definitely going to try and do that. So yeah, moving on to our 8th pick here. I can see the numbers right there. I don't know why I can't read. I was really kind of struggling at this point with like my last 4 Pokemon. I kind of realized that I kind of pigeonholed myself in a position of where I'm probably not gonna have either a really good electric type or a really good grass type, or maybe I can get a really good grass type, but then I'm missing a certain type that could make me weak against certain teams that have something like T-Spikes or that are just able to spam a certain type of move. And I kept debating and like switching things around, looking at whatever I could pick and maybe draft. And after talking to my boy Shuckle King, I ran some ideas by him, and he kind of ultimately told me that this route is probably the best route I could go for, especially because this Pokemon still being around is kind of crazy. Like, if I hadn't got Weavile, I would have actually got my 8th round pick here, which is Gengar, because I was debating getting either Weavile or Gengar originally earlier in the draft. And I figured, you know what, Weavile is actually a little bit better than Gengar. Somebody can get Gengar, it'll be fine, I'll get something else. But the fact that Gengar was still here in round 8 was actually kind of surprising. Now, at this point, I'm very, very low on points, so I needed to be careful. And the fact that I took Gengar did kind of mean that I would have to get 3 Pokemon that were really, really good value for the low points that they were worth. And even that in itself was still kind of a little bit of a struggle to try and figure out what I really wanted. But I figured that with Gengar here, this gives me a really solid special attacker. As you can see from most of our team, VIGTINU, MELMETAL, and Weavile, and Druddigon actually are all physically offensive. I only have TOGEKISS that hits on the special side. I have PORYGON too as well, but PORYGON is typically bulky. But now with Gengar, we have that Mon that can be a special breaker if I really need it to be, just because ghost typing is so insanely good in Generation 8, obviously, because there is no pursuit. And even if I have to deal with dark types, I can just hit them up with the Focus Blast if I really want to go down that route, or I can go for something like Dazzling Gleam if I want to guarantee some type of damage. But I've used Gengar before. We actually have a championship with Gengar because of our TBL run, and it did so much work in that season that I was definitely okay with getting it here again. Like, again, the fact that this was here for round 8 is kind of crazy, especially because I would have got it like round 5 if I didn't go with Weavile, and maybe even then Weavile could have lasted, or somebody else might have got Weavile instead. So being able to get Weavile and Gengar, I will gladly take that. But again, this does really limit the amount of points that I have left. I think at this point I had 11 points for 3 Pokemon. Now, obviously, there is still the major issues of me not having another ground, immunity, or resist. And another big issue that was made very clear to me before I made my 9th pick was that I don't exactly have anything that really wants to take knockoff that well outside of my Druddigon, and Druddigon might be a Mon that I'm not bringing every single week. Like, yeah, I have TOGEKISS, and I know I mentioned that it doesn't really matter that much, but I figured that something that's not really bothered by knockoff is Druddigon, like 100%. Yeah, boots on TOGEKISS being knocked off is not the worst thing ever, but rocks damage is still annoying, if you get what I'm saying. So I figured I want something else that is not going to care about knockoffs and that could help me deal with ground types. And that is a very unlikely Pokemon that I didn't think I was actually going to get. But that is going to be SCRAFTY here for our 9th round pick. I think SCRAFTY was like 7 points, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me check real quick. Yeah, because I remember seeing the cost of this and I was like, is it really this low? Where is it? Yeah, SCRAFTY was 7 points, which is kind of crazy because it actually checks off what I needed to do. It can intimidate earthquaking Pokemon. Even then, with its base 150 Spadef, I can take Earth Powers if needed. It quad resists knockoff, which is really not that big of an issue, honestly, if I don't have something like leftovers, because I could always run like Rest Shed Skin, or it's just bulky enough to be able to run Natural Investment and not really care about not having leftovers in general. Even if it gets rid of whatever item on my SCRAFTY, it's not the worst thing because of just the fact that it can still do so much defensively. It does get access to Bulk Up and Dragon Dance to potentially be able to act as a sweeper. This is also something that was paired up with Gengar in my TBL Season 1 winning team, which our partner was Shuckle King 87, and he actually did suggest SCRAFTY here because, again, it helps me with ground types, and it helps me with knockoff. Even though, yes, we do now have 2 dark types, that's not really the worst thing ever when we literally just got Gengar, and then our first 2 picks being VIGTINU and MELMETAL already murder any fairy types. So between Gengar, MELMETAL, and VIGTINU, the fact that we have 2 dark types is actually not that bad at all. It's actually really good, because even if my opponents bring their fairy types, like, they're going to be pressured by VIGTINU, by MELMETAL, and by Gengar, which means SCRAFTY and Weavile can kind of fall through the cracks there and be even bigger threats, honestly. The only issue is that Double knockoff is kind of bad, but that's something I think I can kind of work around, so that's not really the worst thing ever. And yeah, really happy to have got SCRAFTY here. So obviously I had 11 points, this cost 7. Now I have 4 points for 2 Pokemon, and the one grass type I had my eye on is one that I knew nobody was gonna draft, because nobody ever drafts it, and that is going to be ELDEGOSS. Yes, I know. I really didn't want this. Like, I wanted Tangela so badly. I really wished that Tangela had not got picked so early in the draft as it did. And yeah, the other grass type I had in mind was like Trevenant, which was 4 points as well. But like with Gengar, that kind of overlaps, and I'm already knockoff weak enough as it is. Even with SCRAFTY, I didn't really want to deal with all that shenanigan. Plus, I guess ELDEGOSS did kind of help in the fact that it gives me rapid spin. And to be fair, ELDEGOSS is not like absolutely trash. Like it has some merits, I guess. Like it basically does what I needed to do. I needed to just take on ground types and take on water types and remove if needed. That's all I needed to do. Its coverage is abysmal, obviously, so I'm not worried about whatever trash coverage it gets. All I wanted to do is to come in, be a nuisance, spread statuses with like Stun Spore. I think it gets Sleep Powder. Yeah, it gets Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, Leech Seed. If it got Toxic, that'd be really good. I really wished that this had got U-Turn. If this got U-Turn with Regenerator, that would be absolutely insane. That would have been actually really amazing. But yeah, ELDEGOSS for 3 points. It's not a mon that I guess I'm gonna be bringing every single week, but I can definitely see it coming to maybe like 2 or 3 games, maybe, because of just the fact that it can still be a giant nuisance with its support moves. And yeah, that it's pretty nice with Regenerator as well. So I can't really be too upset about it. Like, it could have been a better mon, but for the points, it's not that bad. So with this being 3 points and me having 4 points left, I only had 1 point left for whatever 1 point trash Pokemon I wanted to get. And you know what? Because it was the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, I was feeling very generous. So I decided to get Pikachu as our final Pokemon here for our draft in season 5 of the NCP. Yes, Pikachu, cute old little Pikachu, was 1 point. I guess the kind of nice thing about Pikachu is that with the base 90 speed and the fact that Light Ball doubles its physical and special attack, making it, I guess, 110 physical and then 100 special attack, it's actually not that bad. Like, Fake Out plus Extreme Speed is actually really good forms of priority, and it actually can do some respectable damage. I'm not gonna lie, I could probably bring Victini to, not Victini, well, I'm gonna bring Victini to like every game, honestly, but I could probably bring Pikachu to like 1 game, maybe 2, just seeing how things go. I guess its abilities don't matter. I'm not switching in Pikachu on anything, man. This is not a Pokemon. Nobody uses this, but it has some merit. It was 1 point. If anything, our first 9 Pokemon are absolutely phenomenal. ELDEGOSS is just really there for like the 2 or 3 matchups that I needed to come to, so it can do what it does. And then Pikachu is just there because maybe I'll bring it as a meme 1 week, or maybe it actually has a really good matchup 1 week. You never know. So yeah, guys, that is our draft for season 5 of the NCP. Answer the comment question of the day. Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to Dragon Claw that YouTube algorithm. Leave a like. Answer the comment question of the day. And I will see you all next Sunday with our week 1 match of the NCP. Tomorrow on Monday, I'm hoping to be able to get up our BBL recap video where we made it to finals. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy, then I will see you all next week. Later, everybody.